He started painting walls in Heath Town, Wolverhampton, and went on to become the superstar of spray can art. He's even been to America to show them how to do it. He's the folk hero to every kid who wants to try graffiti, the art of painting someone else's wall without permission. And 7 hours later, ladies and gentlemen, Goldie, or Clifford Price as his mum knows him, has put the finishing touches to this. Well, it almost seems a shame to call it graffiti. Why do you call it graffiti?
Because really, I mean, that's the old name which the older generation give it. You know what I mean? Like, the older people in the audience, like, they see graffiti as daubing on a wall, because that was their era. And now, like, the new art of the 80s, it's still called graffiti, but hopefully we'll shake that name in the future.
So, what's the answer? To you, is it vandalism, is it a crime, or is it art?
Obviously art.
What is it called, this particular piece?
This piece is Lost in Space, and it's a bit of an anagram. Like, over here we've got the two children, like, and these children is to signify, like, a lot of the young children these days who are lost, which a lot of people tend to forget about in such places like built-up areas and urban areas.
Now, where do you come from?
I come from Heath Town.
Now, was it living in a place like in Heath Town, Wolverhampton, that made you turn to graffiti, do you think?
Yeah, because of the way it's built up and the blank walls, and a lot of kids growing up there who really have to learn to hustle on the streets, man.
What satisfaction do you get out of daubing something like that on a big wall?
Painting something like that on a big wall.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's satisfaction of knowing that when people wake up under circumstances, weather and all that kind of thing, and when they wake up and they see this kind of thing, you know, they're amazed really, and it starts to open people's eyes, because a lot of people, they'll get up in the morning, go to work, come back home, sit down and watch the telly, and they still don't understand. There's a lot of people out there who they don't really understand, and in the ghetto, this is how they're going to understand, by writing visual messages.
How big would you like to be that to be?
Give me the space.
Yeah.
I'll do it as big as I can. Really, I'd like to paint, you know, the rest of Heath Town really, and like the community centre where I live. You know what I mean? And get a lot of the kids involved really.
Now, a lot of people will say, at the end of the day, it is illegal. How do you get away with it? I mean, we've all seen them on the walls as we go around, but how do you get away with it without being caught?
Inside. No, it's like really where you live, like in a built-up area. I mean, people here probably live in nice streets, or you know, little areas where they've got a nice little drive and things. And you know, people, you don't really see graffiti in that kind of area. You see graffiti where there's lack of money and lack of interest. You always see graffiti in like, you know, broken down streets and flats, high rises.
You still haven't answered the question. Why is it that you don't get caught?
It's a good run, I think.
You're a good runner. Okay, we started to do this item because we had a letter from somebody who's in the audience, sitting right over at the back there. Jay. Jay is from Coventry, and he wrote this letter to us. Jay, why did you write to Central Weekend?
Well, you know, we were a very good crew, and I wanted to get us known. And it was getting boring because people around town used to write things about us and that. So I just writ, and hopefully it got through, and we're on telly.
Now, what kind of things have you been doing on the walls of Coventry?
Works of art.
Are they as good as Goldie's?
No way. We're good, but not that good.
What do you think of this?
It's brilliant.
Okay, what do you call yourselves, the gang of painters that are yours?
Forbidden Art.
Forbidden Art. Now, hands up all the members here of Forbidden Art. Okay, well, is it Phil? Yeah. Right there. Phil, it is forbidden, it is illegal. Why do you think it's important for you to do it?
Well, I don't know. It brightens up the place, because some of the places, kids are just going around writing their names and making the walls complete state. And half the time, the council ain't even going to clean half it off. The mums in Coventry, they clean the walls in their town, but they don't clean the ones in the areas where we are. They just leave the subways there. There's one there that's been 2 years, and they ain't cleaned it. You know, so like if they could like give the walls, you know, give us permission to do them, we'd do those walls. You know, happily. We enjoy people saying it's good, and seeing it.
We've got another group here. They're from Birmingham, and they're called Mid-City Artists. Hands up the Mid-City Artists. Now, I can remember your names because 3 of you are called Stephen. So I've got an easy job there. First, Stephen, when did you start painting the walls?
I think I started about a year ago in graffiti. We all know each other anyway, and we saw a film called Star Wars about graffiti in America. That's what inspired us, and also there's a book called Subway Art where we got some inspiration from as well.
Now, what reaction have you had from the neighbourhood when you've done this?
Well, we haven't done it in our neighbourhood.
What is the reaction of the general public when they walk by these things?
Well, if we can, we do it in places what the general public aren't really going to see. You know, places where aren't going to spoil the environment or anything, on canals or something like that.
Have any of you nearly got caught? Any near misses? Guy there nodding his head. Tell me when you nearly got caught.
Oh no, I'm not saying really.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
I'd rather not say really.
You'd rather not say, but it was a near miss. Let me walk over to the middle here, see if I can get Goldie to join me in the middle here. I'm going to ask the audience, generally speaking, what you think of this. Any views of this particular gentleman over on the back there? What do you think of this kind?
2 or 3 of us here tonight from Lichfield District Council, and having seen that, I think I would be quite happy to recommend Lichfield District Council to engage Goldie.
Thelma Cook here, Councillor Thelma Cook.
Thank you. I think that is absolutely wonderful. And what I've done, I've gone a stage further than some of the other councillors. I'm a SAC councillor for the Perry Bar ward of Birmingham. And these 4 young men live in my ward. And we are now promoting to have one of our subways on the Walsall Road designed and artistically done so that we can at least make them legitimate. And we are sponsoring them and looking for sponsors.
Now, this is a very positive view of the whole thing. A man who might view it slightly differently and who looks at graffiti differently is Rufus Barnes. We've already heard one from once tonight, but has a particular interest in this. Rufus, you're the Secretary of the London Regional Passengers Committee. Now, graffiti is a big problem. Can you give us some idea of how big a problem it is?
Certainly. In London, graffiti is now costing £1.4 million a year to London Regional Transport to remove it. And I think that what we've seen here really isn't graffiti in the sense that we see it. It's murals. And I think that it's unfortunate that graffiti covers so many different things. We know from a report that was prepared last year that a number of passengers using public transport really believe that they are travelling in an unsafe atmosphere, and the evidence that comes through is that the sight of graffiti adds to their feelings of being unsafe.
Goldie, it is very threatening when you see some of it, isn't it?
I'd like to pick you up on that because I know a lot of the guys in London who are doing that, and the main reasons why they're doing that is because there we have a pretty laid-back audience. And really, it's because the kids in London are not given the time and not paid attention to, because of obviously London is full of commuters and full of people just passing through London. And the urban areas, there is a lot of rejection, and graffiti is not accepted. Now, what the biggest mistake that they've done is to try and stamp it out before they have found a solution. Now, you say they spent something like £1 million already. Now, New York has spent 25 million over the space of 15 years. Taking the same steps in which trying to stamp out graffiti from the start instead of trying to cure it. Obviously, like this lady said, by giving commissions and getting kids involved. That's the way to cure graffiti, unless you want to pick up a bill. And obviously, when rates go up, everyone's going to turn to the graffiti writer and blame it on us.
Goldie, I live in an urban environment, and I'm quite sure that if he was roundabout, he'd probably paint my walls as well. What does he think gives him the right to paint walls where I don't want him to paint them?
What does give you the right?
Obviously, where I live, obviously an urban area, you don't live by a wall, you don't sleep by a wall, right? And you live in an urban area, but if you're a kid of 13 and 12, and you're growing up where people have to hustle for money, and people have to live day by day thinking where the next penny's coming from, and you're looking at blank walls, getting not the right education.
I lived in that environment, I didn't feel that need.
You didn't feel that need, but obviously where I live, I'm living in that environment, you know. Look at the way you're dressed to me, man.
Oh, there's a man here that might have a little evidence to bear on this.
You'd be able to afford this.
Yeah, but, you know, I haven't really got to sell out, really. Well, my community involvement is obviously, I know, I could have chipped out a long time ago.
How many people here think that that is better than one of those blank underpasses, those great tempting spaces, or a blank brick wall?
Yeah, man. Something like it.
Mike Skanes here, you work with a company called Graffiti Management. Now, you're really paid to clean graffiti up. You're one of the people that make a big profit, really, out of these guys.
No, not really, Sue. We get involved in all sorts of things, for training local authorities, finding their policies, make sure they've got objective products. But
have you actually ever really felt guilty about destroying something like that?
We actually use something like that to stop further graffiti. I mean, when you're talking in terms of graffiti, you're talking about tagging, which is the scribbling on the walls, which you see on the buses, which is the mess which everybody complains about. Now, that is 99% of our work.
And you actually saying there is evidence that if you do this, the tagging stops?
I mean, we've done it. We have used local youngsters to design, we've used schools, we've used a couple of kids, to design a subway. When it's completed, we'll seal it with a graffiti-proof coating. We'll seal it in for good. And any further graffiti, you can just wipe it off. I mean,
can I ask some of the kids again, what would you feel if someone came and put graffiti on your graffiti?
It's just unlawful, isn't it? It's all right.
It's just unlawful, he says. David Webb, I mean, as an ex-policeman and a community policeman as that, what would have been your attitude if you've caught some of these kids?
Well, I'd say that I think attitudes are changing like everything else, and I think that I very much admire that. I have a wall in my factory which was white and primed ready. The following day it had something like that on it, but unfortunately immediately someone else came and wrote all sorts of obscene words all over it. That's what I think people are worried about. If they saw that, they wouldn't worry at all. And if it could be sealed, that would stop a lot of the problems.
Rufus, are we painting too rosy a picture of this?
I think you are. We have evidence in London where there has been some what one might call the murals. I'd like to differentiate it, that have been put up in a really dangerous places along the side of the underground where the directional signs, the instructional signs for drivers have been obscured. And by doing that, one's putting passengers at risk. And I do think that this is really something that's got to be taken very seriously.
Do you think that if a person, a graffiti writer, is given a space and time, he's rather going to paint where there's risk or paint where there's a blank wall where the public are walking by? You tell me.
Goldie, they do it. I have seen graffiti within 2 feet of the main power points of the main line.
They do it. Obviously, there is a threat where they're doing that graffiti there because they are not given the time and space.
We are now running out.
I've painted under worse circumstances than that, and that is because, and I've gone all through this now, and it's only now that people are saying that's pretty pictures.
Mike Skanes, if most people here do seem to approve of this kind of mural type graffiti, are you going to give them a chance?
Oh, quite possibly. I mean, we currently have 2 or 3 proposals out in the West Midlands. Part of our proposals is always to use colour wherever possible, and we will use local youngsters to design it and apply it.
So these youngsters might find a place on your scheme?
It's partially possible, I would hope, before the
How
end
do you
of the
feel
summer.
about that? When it's legitimate, is that going to take the fun away? No? Anyone got more? Jay, when they make it legal, is that going to spoil the fun?
No. Well, what I think they should do is, if they make it legal, then every crew will do it, like, if you see what I'm saying. They should give permits to the best crews around.
Like auditions for buskers, you mean?
In fact, Sue, one of the first lads we used, he'd never been caught in his life, and a policeman collared him when he was doing the legitimate job.
Nice story to end on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed, and thank you, Goldie. That's terrific. Indeed.
I'm afraid it's more or less all we have time for. But I mean, I don't think we can go without one last lingering look at the... Come over and join me, Goldie Wood, because I've actually watched this develop during the course of the day. And it's much more difficult to see it when you're close up, and I don't know on earth you do it, because when you see it from a distance... Can we have a quick long shot before we go? Because one big long shot before you realise just how marvellous it is and what a work of art it is, graffiti or no graffiti. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you all for being with us. Give them a nice round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for that. Well done.